All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're going to get into Rally. That platform that's using AI to build these virtual audiences.
Oh, yeah, I've been hearing so much buzz about this one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Seems like everyone's trying it out.
Yeah.
So we've got all these transcripts from Reese Fisher, one of the Rally co-founders, right?
Right?
And we've got these conversations he's had with people who are using it. Should be pretty interesting to see what they're saying, get the inside scoop.
Yeah, absolutely.
So first things first, just to make sure we're all on the same page. What exactly is Rally? For folks who might not be totally familiar with it.
Well, it's, you know how everyone's talking about AI chatbots these days?
Yeah.
Rally's kind of in that same world, but it's not just like a one-on-one conversation with a bot. Think of it more like, having a whole focus group, but it's all virtual.
Oh, okay.
And these AI agents, they're all different. Different backgrounds, different opinions. They're not just going to agree with everything you say.
Oh, so they'll actually push back.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the things that makes it so cool. You're getting real, diverse perspectives. Like I was reading about this one gym owner, Robin.
Yeah, what was his story?
He was trying to figure out why people were canceling classes last minute, like on the same day. Super frustrating for him, right?
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
So he asked his virtual audience, why do you cancel?
Exactly. And get this, some of the reasons, he hadn't even thought of them. Like feeling mentally drained after work or just plain forgetting.
Wow. So he's getting insights he wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Exactly. And then he even used Rally to test different penalty systems. Should he charge a small fee or maybe kick people out of the gym's WhatsApp group if they cancel last minute? He wanted to see how people would react.
That's brilliant. Like a little experiment.
Yep.
No real world consequences.
Right. And Race mentioned this one marketing consultant who said using Rally saved him 2 weeks and $5,000 compared to doing a traditional focus group.
Wow. Okay, that's some serious savings.
Right. And that's one of the big things about Rally. It's so much faster and cheaper than traditional market research.
Makes sense. One thing I was curious about is this vote mode thing. So it's not just general feedback. You can actually give them choices.
Yeah, exactly. It's like an A/B test. You can present different options like slogans or product names.
And the AI audience votes.
Yeah. But here's the really cool part. You don't just see the votes. You see why they voted the way they did. Each persona explains their thinking.
Oh, wow. So you get the why behind the answer, not just the answer itself.
Right. That's what gives you the real insights. Like there was this example of a startup founder testing a dinner plate.
A dinner plate?
Yeah, but it had these built-in scales, and it would light up when there was only 10% of food left. Kind of a wild idea, right?
That's pretty out there.
But that's the beauty of Rally. You can throw out these crazy ideas and see what people think.
And you could see if, Gen Z would actually want a glowing plate.
Exactly, before you spend a ton of money on development.
Smart. Riance also talked about content creators using Rally.
Oh, yeah, they're loving it. I read about this one team that was brainstorming titles for articles. They said the AI suggestions were sparking more creativity than they could come up with on their own.
Really? So it's like having an AI muse.
Right. Sometimes we get so stuck in our own ways of thinking, Rally shakes things up. You see all these different perspectives, and it just opens up your mind.
Makes sense. But what about using this stuff for internal teams, not just marketing and products?
Yeah, Reese talked about something called internal team alignment.
So it's like simulating those team discussions where you're trying to get everyone on the same page.
Exactly. Instead of just going with the loudest voice in the room, you can actually have a more balanced discussion with lots of different viewpoints.
So you could test out different communication strategies, see what works best.
Yeah, and one marketing consultant was saying he used it to test the effectiveness of slogans across different demographics. It's like having a focus group for each target audience.
Oh, wow. So you could really tailor your message to each specific group.
Exactly. That's so important these days, right? Connecting with your audience in a way that feels authentic.
Absolutely. And, there was this one example that really stood out to me, a priest who works for the Episcopal Church. He was interested in testing how different language about character development might connect with people who aren't religious.
Oh, that's interesting. It's all about bridging those gaps, isn't it? Finding common ground, even when people have different beliefs.
Right. And Rally can help us do that. It's not just about getting a yes or no. It's about understanding the why behind those answers.
Absolutely.
Like one user said he was testing a slogan, and some of the virtual audience members were actually offended by it.
Oh, wow.
He was totally surprised.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a good wake-up call. Helped him refine his messaging to be more inclusive.
Yeah, sometimes we don't realize how our words might be perceived by others. Rally can help us be more sensitive and aware.
And it's not just about being politically correct. It's about actually connecting with people on a deeper level,
Exactly. It's about building relationships and understanding.
which is what communication is all about, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just about what people say, it's about how they say it. Their tone of voice, their body language.
Oh, that reminds me. Reese was talking about how they're working on adding even more features to Rally, like video analysis, so you can see how people react visually to your ideas.
Wow, that's going to be a game changer. It'll be like having a real-life focus group, but all virtual.
I can't wait to see what they come up with next.
Me neither.
This is also fascinating. I'm starting to wonder if Rally could even help with things like personal development. Things that aren't directly related to business or marketing.
I was thinking the same thing. Imagine using it to, like, get feedback on your communication skills, or maybe even to help you break a bad habit.
Or even just to brainstorm creative ideas. Like, what if you could use Rally to come up with new hobbies or travel destinations?
The possibilities are endless. I think we're just scratching the surface of what this technology can do.
It really feels like we're on the verge of something big. All right, we've covered a lot of ground so far. I think it's time to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and dive even deeper into the world of Rally. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Ready to keep exploring this whole Rally thing.
Definitely. In these transcripts, I keep seeing this theme of people feeling really unsure about their ideas. Like, they have this great concept, but they're scared to put it out there.
Makes sense, right? Putting yourself out there is always a little scary,
Yeah.
especially if you've poured your heart and soul into something.
Totally. And I think that's where Rally comes in. It's like this safety net. You can test the waters without, like, the whole world seeing it.
Yeah, I was reading about this guy, Art, who was launching his first product.
He used it to, like, stress test his ideas. He wanted to challenge his own assumptions, make sure his messaging was really hitting the mark.
Oh, I like that. Stress test. So it's like a reality check before you launch into the real world.
Exactly. And that's important because we all have biases, right? We think we know what people want, but sometimes we're totally off base.
True. It's so easy to get stuck in your own head. So Rally helps you step outside of that, see things from a fresh perspective.
Exactly. Like, imagine a whole team of people giving you honest feedback.
Well, Reese mentioned a documentary filmmaking team that used Rally for something similar. They were trying to refine their story, make it more impactful.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. They were testing different storylines and character arcs, seeing which ones resonated most with their virtual audience.
It's like having a test screening before you even start filming.
Right. You can see what's working, what's not, before you invest all that time and money.
Speaking of time and money, I was reading about this marketing consultant, Patrick, who was using Rally to personalize his cold emails.
Cold emails. The bane of everyone's existence.
Right. But he was testing different subject lines and email copy with virtual audiences to see what actually got people to open those emails.
So smart. You have to stand out in a crowded inbox, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Rally helped him do that.
Oh, yeah. He was saying it helped him increase his open rates and response rates.
So it's like having a secret weapon for your marketing. And, Reese kept talking about audience segmentation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's key. It's basically about dividing your audience into smaller groups based on all sorts of things like demographics, interests, values, lifestyles.
It's about getting really specific with your messaging. Like, not just sending out a generic message to everyone.
Exactly. And with Rally, you can create these virtual audiences that represent each of those segments.
So you're tailoring your message to resonate with each group.
Precisely.
Reese gave this example of Mitch, a product manager who was developing a new app.
Oh, yeah. He was testing different feature ideas, right?
Right. And he was segmenting his virtual audience by age, by how tech-savvy they were, even by income level.
That's so smart. You can figure out what features are going to be most appealing to different groups.
And then there was Sumit, trying to figure out the best market for his new product. He was testing his messaging with all these different virtual audiences, representing different demographics and industries.
So he could pinpoint the most promising markets to focus on. It's like market research, but on fast forward.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And you know what else blows my mind?
Mhm.
How Rally combines this qualitative feedback with quantitative data.
Oh, yeah. You get those rich insights, but you also get the numbers, like voting patterns, sentiment analysis. It's the best of both worlds.
It's not just numbers, it's understanding what's behind the numbers.
And that's what Reese said impressed Paul Marsden, a big shop market researcher. He loved how Rally could reveal the inner thoughts of those AI personas.
It's like getting a glimpse into their decision-making process. And, it's not just for big companies with huge budgets.
Right. We were reading about Finn, a startup founder using Rally to test messaging for his new product. Headlines, website copy, all that stuff.
It's making these powerful tools accessible to everyone.
Exactly. And it's not just about finding what works, it's about avoiding those potential disasters.
Oh, you mean like putting out a message that totally backfires?
Exactly. Reese gave this example of Tim, who was building an online community for paragliding enthusiasts.
Paragliding? That's pretty niche.
Right. Well, he was testing different content ideas and strategies for interacting with that community online.
So you wouldn't accidentally offend anyone or turn them off?
Exactly. He wanted to make sure he was using the right approach, building trust with that community.
Makes sense. But all this talk about powerful tools and virtual audiences, it makes me wonder about the ethical implications.
Of course, any technology this powerful, there's always the potential for misuse.
Like, what if it's used to manipulate people, spread misinformation?
That's a valid concern. But Reese was really upfront about the importance of transparency and privacy. He was adamant that they don't share user data or those audience profiles with anyone.
So everything stays confidential.
Yeah, it's all kept under wraps. But I think what worries me more is the AI bias issue.
Oh, you mean like if the AI is trained on biased data, it could create these virtual audiences that are also biased?
Right. But Reese is saying they're really aware of this and working to address it. He encouraged users to be mindful about building diverse and inclusive virtual audiences.
So it's like garbage in, garbage out. You have to be intentional about the data you're feeding the AI.
Exactly. And it's not just about the data, it's about how we use the technology. Are we using it to augment our decision-making or to replace it altogether?
That's a good question. It's like, are we becoming too reliant on these virtual audiences, losing touch with our own intuition?
That's the debate, isn't it? Where's the line between using AI as a tool and becoming dependent on it?
It's a tricky balance.
It is. But I think the key is to keep those conversations going, to be aware of the potential pitfalls, and to use this technology responsibly.
And ethically.
Absolutely. AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. It's up to us to make sure we're using it for the right reasons.
Well said. Okay, deep divers, we've covered a lot of ground in this part. In the final part, we're going to take a step back and look at the bigger picture.
We'll explore how Rally might change, how we learn, how we connect with each other, and even how we make decisions in our personal lives. Stay tuned.
All right, so we're back for the final part of our Rally deep dive. This whole thing has really gotten me thinking about the big picture, Like, where is this all going?
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. It's not just about market research or product development anymore.
Right. It's like, how could this change the way we live our lives?
Exactly. Like, what about personal development? What if we could use Rally to become better communicators or to break bad habits?
I was just thinking that. It would be like having a personal coach, but instead of just one person's opinion, you'd have this whole panel of AI advisors giving you feedback.
Yeah, you could create virtual audiences that represent different personality types or communication styles and see how your words and actions might be perceived by them.
That's such a good idea. It would be like a safe space to practice and experiment without, worrying about messing up in the real world.
Exactly. And what about education? Imagine students using Rally to practice presentations or to get feedback on their writing from virtual audiences that represent different academic disciplines.
That would be amazing, especially for students who get really nervous about public speaking or sharing their work.
Right. It could make learning so much more engaging and personalized. Every student could have a learning experience that's tailored to their specific needs.
That's the dream, right? And it could even go beyond that, What if we could use Rally to connect with people from different cultures and backgrounds?
Oh, that's a really interesting thought. Like, imagine being able to simulate conversations with people from all over the world. It could be a really powerful tool for building empathy and understanding.
Absolutely. We always talk about breaking down cultural barriers, but this could actually make it happen. But, all of this sounds incredible, but I also can't help but wonder, are there any downsides? Like, what if people become too reliant on these virtual audiences and lose touch with real human connection?
That's a good point. It's like anything else, you can have too much of a good thing. We have to remember that these virtual audiences are just simulations. They're not a replacement for real people.
Right. It's about finding that balance,
Yeah.
using AI to enhance our lives, but not letting it take over completely. We still need to trust our own judgment, our own intuition.
Exactly. And we can't forget the importance of genuine human connection. We need both.
Mm.
The virtual and the real.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, thinking about potential downsides, what about the whole issue of misuse? Could this technology be used to manipulate people or to spread misinformation?
That's a real concern for sure. But Rice, the co-founder we were talking about, he seems to be really aware of those ethical implications. He kept emphasizing the need for transparency and responsible development.
That's good to hear. It's not just about creating a cool new technology. It's about making sure it's used for good.
Right. And it's a conversation that we need to keep having as AI becomes more and more integrated into our lives. We need to be proactive about setting ethical guidelines and making sure this technology benefits society, not harms it.
Well said. Well, I think it's safe to say that this deep dive into Rally has given us a lot to chew on. It's clear that this technology has the potential to change so many aspects of our lives.
Yeah.
In ways we can't even imagine yet.
It's definitely exciting and a little bit scary all at the same time.
Right. But that's the thing about the future. It's full of possibilities. And it's up to all of us to shape that future, to make sure we're using these incredible tools in a way that benefits humanity.
Absolutely. So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
That's what it's all about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Rally removes the barriers between your questions and your answers. All the wisdom, none of the scars.